Hi guys, it's month 10 of Prompt Squad, can you believe it? It's been a while since we got together for Prompt Squad, so I'm really excited to get this started. Now this month's prompt was your favourite piece from Inktober, just trying to make it a bit easier for everyone, and I've been enjoying seeing a lot of you take on this year's challenge, and I'm really excited to see which pieces of art you felt were your best from the month. I struggled a lot to choose because, I had so many amazing pieces, but I ended up choosing the one that I'm going to be showing today. I'm sorry, by the way, if my voice gets a bit croaky, it's just that time of year. Oddly, my favourite was right in the middle of the month, and it was for the prompt Legend. I think if you've been following my art, maybe it's not a big surprise that I chose this painting. I've been working recently on infusing my art with a bit more style. I can kind of tell something's my art if I imagine I'm not myself. That's a really questionable sentence there, but if you're arty, I'm sure you kind of understood what I was saying there. And when I look at my favourite artists, one of my favourite things about them is when they illustrate something in a more abstract way, but then it's still readable to me as the viewer. And I played with that concept a lot in this piece. I knew I wanted to draw the types of foliage that you would see at the edge of a river, and I'm really lucky to live very close to a river and I go up to walk there quite a lot, so it was easy for me to imagine these plants and wildlife that I wanted to paint. And I would say that's a key part of making stylized illustrations, or at least it has been for me as somebody who began drawing very realistically quite a few years ago now. If I can imagine an object or animal or even a person in my mind's eye, when I then draw it, it's a lot more naturally stylized than it is when I use a reference image or a photograph and then go to draw. I can't help but follow photographs if I've seen them. Even if I'm just looking at them for a second and then pan off, it's just like it's in my mind's eye now and I'm just starting to go from memory. Maybe it's like I'm going from short-term memory instead of long-term memory. And I think when you take it from long term, maybe you're taking more of like the deeper visual cues of that. So it's maybe a bit more readable to other people, even though it's stylized. I'm going to stop sounding so pretentious right now, if that's possible. Another reason I think this is my favourite is because it's one of my favourite legends. I love the story of the Kappa and the ideas behind it as a character, and I'm always doodling them now. I feel like if I was going to make a logo at this point, or maybe a stamp for my art, I would be tempted to use a Kappa. I love drawing the frogs too. I really like drawing anything with googly eyes. That's my aesthetic. Now, my only downside, and it's kind of unfair to ledge this against this piece in particular, as it's pretty true for all of my Inktober's this year, was the fact that I restricted myself just to black and white. In some ways, I'm glad I did do this because I think it has made me think about levels far more than I ever have done. And even just doing Folktale Week right after, which is the point I'm recording this, and which I will be doing a flip through of on this channel soon, I can see how working in levels is helping the legibility of my illustrations. I think they're just a lot easier to read, especially from far away, so I'm really glad that I approached the challenge this way, and if you're interested in hearing more of my thoughts on that, I have done a sketchbook tour of all of Inktober, which I'll probably link at the end. But at the same time, I really would love this painting more if maybe it was green with some bits of pink, which is how I imagined this if I was going to paint it in colour. And yeah, on this topic, I just wanted to ask you guys about your process when it comes to levels and colour too. After doing this, I've been drawing my thumbnails now just in black and white and very harsh shades. And once that's done, I just kind of imagine the colours over the top of those shades and I'll just start painting. And I was wondering how you guys sort out levels in your paintings. Do you work first in black and whites and then imagine the colours afterwards, or do you block test your colours first and then mess with the levels after that point? It'd be really interesting to know the differences in approach that we all have, and I think it would also be fun maybe to try out your guys' approach too and see what we can all learn from each other. So now I'm going to leave it there and just to let you see some more of the process behind Legend, the Kappa painting, and I'll come back and talk about what this month's prompt squad is going to be and show off some of your art too. So yeah, that's my favourite piece from Inktober. And now I want to get on to what you guys have chosen as your favourites for this month. Sakura was spoilt for choice. She took the challenge in quite a few directions throughout the space of this month. She began with this great story about a town and this mysterious bell, and I'm not going to go too into detail so that you can check it out for yourself, but she used the prompts as jumping off points for her series, and then told it all in this comic format. It's really good, but a hell of a lot of work, as you can imagine it would be, so she put that on the shelf for now, and turned her sights instead to mixing it up with some character art in the latter half of the challenge. If you haven't seen Sakura's stuff yet, you'll see how good she is at bringing characters to life, even in these stills. And I'd definitely check out her art if you enjoy art that has a lot of thought and story behind it. Kai chose his piece for the prompt coat on day 27, where he painted Spawn. Now I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about this character, but I love the style of this piece. I think it's a great choice for a favourite because the ink work has this great texture to it and lots of detail, and it's just extremely professional looking too. I have no idea how you did this in one day, Kai, but it really makes me want to see you create your own comic book one day. And Nadia followed Mab's Drawloween, I think I pronounced that right, prompt list for Inktober. And a lot of her favourites may be familiar to you if you follow her art. The Huntress and the Death Witch made debuts in last year's Inktober, which is good because you can see how much her art has developed in just 1 year. And Nadia does this great job throughout her Inktober of telling stories in singular tableaus. She's got an eye for detail and it gives all her illustrations just lots of depth. I've been pressuring her into maybe telling a story of her own with all of these characters she's created, but we'll see. And now I'm adding even more pressure putting it in the video, but I'm sure she'll forgive me. Dave chose his piece for Swing, which was one of my favourites too, that he created for his Inktober. The perspective is just insane. Dave has this skill of imagining objects in space with perspective that is just masterful. I have no idea where I would begin with a lot of his ideas, but throughout Inktober you just see him take on these big ideas with some real finesse and real skill, to be honest, and he's definitely worth checking out if you haven't done already. I'm a really big fan of his compositions too, and I think you can really see how they've developed, especially through this month and Folktale Week. Belinda Berkner is a new member of Prompt Squad, so I hope you'll join me in welcoming her here and down in the comments. I really love her traditional take on the Inktober prompts, and her favourite was Frail on day 8, which may be my favourite take on that prompt just in general that I've seen. I thought that it was a really hard word, but her piece has this fragility and it just seems so delicate that I just think it really complements the old woman that she chose as her subject. You can see so much consideration down from the colours to the line work. I just think it really perfectly captures the prompt. And I hope she decides to take part in next month's Prompt Squad too, because I think she's real credit to our squad. Now, as always, I just want to send out a massive thank you to all of the wonderful members of Prompt Squad. It's been great seeing all your work throughout all of Inktober, and coming back to this challenge every year. It's just a great measure, I think, of seeing how all of our art is growing and developing over time. It feels like really it should be held in spring for that reason. Maybe we'll have to think of our own to rectify that. But maybe let's not think of another crazy challenge to go and give ourselves, and let's get on with our own already established one. So next month's prompt for Prompt Squad is your Prompt Squad character, which was suggested by Dave. Now, the idea is to create your own animal character, like the octopus and cat that you have dancing down in the right, that you feel represents you. So maybe it's your favourite animal, or an animal that you seem to just doodle a lot, or one that you feel fits you and your personality. Whatever it is, draw your own Prompt Squad character in your own style, and if you're able to make 2 drawings of it, maybe bobbing up and down like my little guys, I could then put them all together for a dance-off or something. Okay, that's my dream, but don't worry if that's a bit too much. I'd love to collect them all together though, so it would be great if you left them without a background. Don't worry too much if the art takes you over and you can't help yourself and you have to draw a background. I'll forgive you. But that would be great if you didn't. If you'd like to join in, make sure to tag your art with the hashtag promptsquad here or on Instagram, or even just email me your art to include. My email is in my YouTube profile, and I'll make sure to feature you in next month's Prompt Squad. So now we're at the end, but as a final thing, I just wanted to show some honourable members of Prompt Squad this month. They may not have asked for the invite, but I really wanted to feature some of their wonderful art, and they're just honourable members of Prompt Squad this month. So hopefully you'll enjoy their art and maybe find a few more artists to follow too. I hope you all enjoyed taking part in this month's Prompt Squad, and I can't wait to see the characters that you create for the next one. I hope you're all doing well, and chat soon.